Hey there, I don't know who needs to hear this story, but it's occurring to me so strongly today, I thought I would just share it. And I'm not even sure why. So I'm just going to share it. So, about 8 years ago, my ex husband, Jeff, his aorta split at work. And so he was flown over from Illinois to St. Louis for emergency surgery. And I had just landed in St. Louis from a work job event thing. And so as soon as I got off the plane and turned my phone on, it was blowing up with some messages from his boss. And so then I was informed that this was happening, and I flew in my car to the hospital. And right when I walked in, his gurney was being pushed in to greet the team that was going to be taking care of his surgery. So they told us there, like they just ran through all of the different things that could happen, like paralysis or death. And so when they talked about the death part, they said that I think 30% of the people don't survive this surgery. And then they whisk him off and they start the surgery. And I had friends helping me collect my daughter and put her on a plane so she could come home from college. And other people were just descending upon the waiting room, and we get my daughter there, and Jeff is in the middle of surgery, and his surgeon comes out as the vascular surgeon was taking over to save his legs. The surgeon came out to say it's not looking good. He's behaving like the 30% that don't make it. And when someone says that about their father in front of your children, or in front of me anyway, the mama bear came out, and I grabbed him by the collar and I just said, get back in there and you go do your job, and you treat him like he's behaving like the 70%, and you don't stop until that happens. So you get back in there and you do your job. Today is not the day. St. Louis is losing one of their best bass players. So you get back in there and you save that bass player. Get back in there. And he was just like, whoa. And he was exhausted. And I bitch slapped him. And he changed his approach. And he went in there and he saved Jeff's life. So some months later, after Jeff finally gets out of the hospital and he's back to living his life, I took him back to the doctor, to that surgeon, for a checkup. And I brought a bottle of wine to apologize for my behavior. And he had a bottle of wine for me to thank me for my behavior. So it's all about how you look at things, isn't it? I don't know why I needed to share, but I think someone needs to hear that. You take from it what you will. Jeff is doing fine now, by the way. You know what? I'm going to add to that story. Jeff actually lost his vocal cords in that surgery. And he's a professional singer and musician. And he had a procedure done to plump up one of the vocal cords, but it was a terrible procedure and it didn't last very long. And he never wanted to go through that again. And one day, it was his birthday actually, so it was about 8 months later, he was super bummed out, and I happened to pass by him in an office that we shared, and I said, what's the matter? Why aren't you happy that you didn't die? And why aren't you happy that I didn't have to take your daughter to your funeral? And, cheer up. And he said, well, no one can hear me talk. And he's just whispering this. And now I'm playing back at, gigs again out at bars and stuff, and it's so loud people can't hear me. Jeff is historically a quiet, non-confrontational person, and we were in a conflict at the time with a business deal, and he wasn't speaking up, and the doctor had just told him that he would not get his vocal cords back again. After 6 months, that's as much as healing as you're going to get. And we are at 8 months. And so with all that in mind, I just mouthed off and said, well, you don't use your voice anyway. didn't you just have lunch with the guy who's fucking me over? Did you stick up for me at all? And did he say something shitty about me? And he's like, yeah, he did say something shitty about you, and I didn't stick up for you. And I go, look, you're not going to get your voice back until you start using it. The universe is hearing you loud and clear. I don't need my voice. I'm not going to use it. If you want your voice back, you need to use it. And so later that day, we caught the person that we were in this business deal with red-handed doing something shitty. And so I called in the troops. I called the police. I called the landlord. I called Jeff in and some other employees in. And Jeff saw what he was doing, and he used his voice and told this guy off in a loud whisper. And we pulled the plug on that terrible business deal. We started our own business down the road. We packed our things and we left. And by midnight that night, I had Dogaboni Studios, which is my print shop. I had the LLC set up and the start of all the social media and the website. And I let everybody know, if you want to follow me down to this business, I will pay you until we get it up and running. So you're not going to miss a paycheck. And Jeff, you go home and heal. Like, I think you came back to this job way too fast. And go walk the dog and play music or whatever. And he did. And just a few weeks later, Jeff had his voice back, fully had his voice back, because he used it and he got some rest and took care of himself, and that was it. So when you use your voice and you line up with the universe, you get what you want. That's the deal. Okay, let me know what you think in the comments. Anything like this ever happened to you? You ever finally stood in your truth and great things started happening? See you later.